Hello, children. Let's continue the chapter What Books and Burials Tell Us. Part 1 I have already shared with you. Let's get started with part 2. Now, let's talk about the society at that time. There are several ways of describing people in terms of the work they do, the language they speak, the place they belong to, their family, their communities, and cultural practices. People were divided into number of tribes, and each tribe that settled in a specific area, which included many villages. And each tribe had a king, which was known as a Raja, and who was selected on the basis of his bravery. These kings were very different from the kings of later times. They did not have large standing army or huge palaces. They controlled a very small area. Two words were used for describing the community or the people as a whole. One was the word Jana and other was Vish. The word Vaishya was derived from Vish. The people who composed the hymns at that time, they described themselves as the Aryans and they called their opponents as Das. Das were the people who did not perform sacrifices. Their language was different from that of the Aryans. And later on, the term Das came to mean slave. Slaves were men and women who were often captured in wars. And slaves had to do whatever work their masters wanted them to do. Now let's discuss the story of the megaliths. A megalith is a grave or a memorial for dead people. The word megalith comes from two Greek words. Mega means big and lithos means stone. So megalith therefore means big or large stones. Many tribes of India have built various megalithic structures since Neolithic and Chalcolithic ages. And the megaliths were burials in graveyards, away from the area where people lived. Megaliths have various shapes and forms. And these shapes and forms may have been used by different tribes for dead people according to their importance, hierarchy, or to show different causes of death. So we can say the big stone boulders are known as megaliths and they were used to mark burial sites and were very carefully arranged. And this practice of erecting megaliths that started around 3000 years ago and spread to the vast parts of country. All these burials show common features. Generally, the dead were buried along with the black and red ware, pottery, tools and weapons of iron, skeletons of horses, other equipments, and in some burials, even ornaments of stone and gold also have been found. These megalithic sites are very useful to understand the material culture and society of those days. When archaeologists have found the objects from the burial sites, it has been found that there was some difference in status amongst the people who were buried, because with some skeletons lot of objects have been found like gold beads, stone beads, copper bangles, but with the other burials only a few objects have been found in the burial sites. So some were rich, others were poor. This was the social difference in the society at that time. Next, some family burial sites have also been found. Some megaliths were also family burials which contain more than one skeleton. That shows that people from the same family were buried at the same place. They were not buried at the same time but brought into the graves through the portholes. To identify the burial site, boulders or stone circles were placed on the surface like signposts so that people could identify the place. One such burial has been found at Inam Gaon, which is a site on the river Ghor, which is a tributary of Bhima. And it was occupied between 3600 and 2700 years ago. This is a site where adults were generally buried in the ground, laid out straight with the head towards the north. And some burials have been found within the houses, even where vessels that contain food and water were placed with the dead. Now, let's talk about occupations of people at Inam Gaon. Archaeologists have found many evidences of seeds of wheat, barley, rice, pulses, millets, which shows that agriculture was the main occupation of people of Inam Gaon. Secondly, animal rearing was also common, and many animals were reared like cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, dog, horse, etc. And some evidences have been found of fruits also, such as bear, amla, jamun, dates, and a variety of berries were also collected.